Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. There are. Where's the mic? Okay, so can we theories and issues in development? It is a core course for all master's degree students. There are PGD students that also offer the course. Theirs is Introduction to Development, CTD 703. CTD 703, Introduction to Development. For the master students is TID 808, Theories and Issues in Development. By the way, I am Dr. Okafor Nnamdi. I'll be taking this course with my very big oga, Professor E.N. Danladi. Professor E.N. Danladi. He's a very busy man. So most of the time, I will be the one interfacing with you. But whenever he has time, he will also come in and teach. Are we together?
Yes, sir. We are together.
Frank Musa has raised a hand. Okay, Frank Musa.
I'm a PhD student. I don't know if I'm in the wrong place, but this link was shared. I heard you mention the masters and the PGD.
I do not think. Give me a minute. Let me verify. I'll get back to you. I do not think
all right, sir.
PhD students offer this class. Let me verify.
It's all right, sir.
Just give me a minute. We need to be clear before we proceed.
It's all right, sir. Thank you, sir.
One minute, please. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so the course is strictly for master's degree students and PGD students.
All right.
So, Ogadok, you can excuse us.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Apologies.
There are just 3 people in this class. We will perhaps just do a brief introduction and call it a day. I understand admission is still ongoing. Even those who have been admitted are still trying to organize themselves and get set for class. So we will not move too far so that it will make it easier for those who will come later to catch up. Theories and issues in development.
Right.
Theories and issues in development. Now, there are three keywords there. Number one is theories. Number two, issues. And number three, development. For a start, we will try to understand what theories are. Then we'll try to, of course, you don't need anybody to explain to you the meaning of the word issues. And then the giant in the room is development. What is development? How do you conceptualize development in relation to underdevelopment? Some scholars like Claudia King also talked about undevelopment, UN development. Political economy scholars have always insisted that every country in the world is developing, that all countries in the world are practically developing. Because, the day a country stops developing, it atrophies. It's what you call systemic negentropy or systemic atrophy. And so development is not an event. Development is a process. And I tend to agree with that line of thought. That even the almighty United States of America is still developing. The Germany as a country, they are still developing. Because China, for instance, as a matter of fact, China will even by themselves refer to themselves as a developing country. Because to a certain extent, there was a conference held in France and they coined the terminology, more like a phrase, tiers mondial. That's the French phrase for third world. And third world equals developing countries. So now the world is divided into two. More than two though, but geographically there's what you call the global south and the global north. The global south, when they say something is going south, well, somebody said that your reasoning is going south. What the person is trying to tell you is that you are not reasoning well. So south equals poverty. The global south is known for, Africa. Known for poverty and squalor, debilitating and grinding poverty, squalor, hunger, underdevelopment. You talk about development, underdevelopment, and undevelopment. But in all of these, the word developing applies to every country. But in political science climbs, when you're talking about developing countries, what it means is that you're referring to third world countries in Southeast Asia, some countries in South America, and almost all the countries in Africa are referred to as developing countries. Tiers mondial, third world. Now, tiers mondial suggests that there is a first world, right? Tiers mondial, third, tiers, third world. So meaning there's a first world, there's a second world, and there is a third world. Now, the first world are developed countries, so to say. Mind you, we are quarreling with the word developed countries because, like we said, almost all countries are developing. I will come to that properly. The first world, America, the United States of America, Canada, UK, Germany, France, those countries. Then you have the second world, where you talk about Singapore, Malaysia, all those countries. Some countries in Africa, maybe Egypt, Tunisia, perhaps Morocco, largely North African countries. South Africa is struggling to join that camp. Most BRICS countries are regarded as second world. And then you have the third world, the tiers mundial, where you have us, Africa, Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and most countries in the Horn of Africa are all regarded as developing countries, or what some call tiers mondial. But like I said before, all countries are developing, and the day you stop developing, you die. The other countries will overtake you and mess you up in some cases. In the 60s, Nigeria was developing at par with Singapore, Malaysia. But today, Singapore and Malaysia can be regarded as second world countries. And Nigeria still remains a third world country. You see where I don't know if you get the point, the narrative. So sometimes when you stop developing, or when the pace at which you're developing is reduced, other countries overtake you, and you take the back seat. The same applies with the United States and China. 10, 15 years ago, China cannot even talk. 20 years ago, China cannot talk where the United States is talking. China, they are way back in regards to development. The Chinese are putting a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of stealing also. They steal a lot of technology from elsewhere and develop it and localize it, modernize it, and then they come up with a more developed version of the technology that they stole from you. You recently, 3-4 weeks ago, we heard about the announcement of an artificial intelligence application. They call it DeepSeek. DeepSeek, strictly created by the Chinese, which is even better than the American version. They call it Chat GPT. If you look at the automobile industry, for instance, the Chinese are doing very well. Almost, competing with the Japanese, for instance, and then the Americans. If you're talking about electric cars, Chinese are ahead. You're talking about technology generally. Technology. Even the Americans are set that the Chinese technology is advancing far more than that of the United States of America. There are facts, empirically and verifiable evidence to validate this point. And so if you slow down your development, like we said before, development is an unceasing process. Unceasing process. It is not an event. You have to constantly, unceasingly, be developing, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, unceasingly, governance. And so we have agreed that development is not an event, that it is a process. What then is development? Okay, what is development? We'll come to that. What are the issues bordering on development in Africa, for instance? What are the issues bordering on development in Nigeria, for instance? And then what theories or theorem, because theory, the plural form of theory is theorem. But when you say theories, that too can be accepted. So what are the theories that can be deployed to explain the idea of development? What are the theories that can be used, to underpin development in Africa? What are the theories that can be used to enhance development, say in Nigeria, for instance? You know what they say about charity and how it begins at home, So we need African scholars, African intellectuals to develop homegrown theories that can be used to drive development in Nigeria as a nation. At some point, we have to do away with Western, theory, Western prescription, for instance, on development, and come up with our own locally made theories, locally made ideas. The Americans can solve the problem of Nigeria. The British can solve the problem of Nigeria. The Germans cannot, even though they position themselves as messiahs who have come to solve your problem. But they are not messiahs, in my opinion. I mean, these guys have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. At the core of international imperialism, lies the drive for surplus value, the drive for profit, The British didn't come here to give you civilization. No, they did not. They came to steal. They came for business. And whatever they did was anchored on generating surplus value for their home country. The roads that they tied, the roads that lead from the interior to the metropole, to the sea sometimes, that you just drive, you carry our goods, sometimes you carry our, human resources in form of slaves, and you drive them straight to the sea, and you haulage them to wherever you want to haulage them to do slave labor for the Western interest. They are not coming to give you labor. Today, people talk about foreign aid. That is like honey coated with, that's like poison coated with honey. There's only some sinister interest, coated in all of these so-called developmental aid. The Americans used to pride themselves as democracy promoters. Democracy for whom? And for whom? For what? Who's benefiting from this democracy? This Western-style democracy. And to the extent that they give you policy prescriptions and if you say no, they withhold the aid. Okay, granted, we now trade. We have goods. We have our locally made goods. We have our oil, our crude. But at what terms are we trading with the West? The so-called development Father Christmas. At what terms? The terms of trade is unfair to the so-called developing countries of Africa, Oceania, Asia, particularly Southeast Asia and elsewhere. So Africa is always the whipping child. Africa is always it's more like a horse and a horse rider relationship. We are the horse and they are the riders. And I was talking about theories and why the need for us to develop homemade theories to drive development in Africa. The need for us to think locally. You come up with, local solutions for local problems. Development should be driven from within and not from without. But you see, the day the black man starts reasoning well and acting right, that is the day the white man will have problem. Because if you take away Africa, particularly, in the scheme of things, the West will have problem. This is where they come to grab natural resources. They come to grab crude. They come to grab uranium. They come to grab, what is this one? Lithium or Lutanium. I don't know what it's called. That which they used to produce batteries. Africa is so blessed with human and natural resources. Our doctors are all fleeing. Our nurses are fleeing. Our IT practitioners are fleeing. The question is, fleeing to where? Fleeing to the West to continue the slavery that our forefathers were cajoled and forced into. Some of them were killed, going into slave trade. But today we voluntarily go into slave trade because we are looking for greener pastures. Africa is so backward. Why has Africa remained backward? Nigeria is backward. Why have we remained backward? We are underdeveloped. Why are we underdeveloped? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. But at some point during the course of this course, we may have to go into the wind to seek for the answers some of these questions or issues we are trying to raise. So at the core of this course, we'll be looking at issues bordering on development. Towards the end, we can start talking about theories. When we get to theories, those in postgraduate diploma courses might decide to back out, but I don't think they should, because no knowledge is lost. If you intend to do masters here, which I encourage you, just transition from PGD to masters. It will be like a revision course by the time you come do your master's degree. Are we together? I hope I've not been talking to myself.
We are together, sir.
You are
We're
together,
hearing you.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions so far? Questions, contributions, contradictions? Questions?
Well, we say so.
Oh, hey, boo, Edith. Yeah, I'm listening to you. Edith, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I think for now, I don't have questions for now, but I enjoyed the little I've heard. But the point here is, considering the state of things, I don't think we should blame those that are going out, because what you put here is more than what you are putting outside, and you are getting more results. So I think the lecture is going to really expose us the more, empower us to know why we should not go out of this country if we have the opportunity. So I think I don't have questions for now, but I'm enjoying the lecture, sir.
Oh, okay, good to know. But I'm not blaming anybody for leaving Nigeria. Like I said, they are leaving for greener pastures. But like the question, the issue here is, I mean, that is one of the issues bordering on development, or underdevelopment, if you will. Because if the conditions are right here, if the environments are enabling and the pay is better, I mean, why would I go to the UK, for instance, to be doing a care job? I've seen bank managers resign here and go to the UK to be doing petty jobs, and they get spat at, they get insulted, racial slurs. You know, they are angry, unceasingly angry. If you have relatives abroad, ask them. The medical doctors who even get good pay, all of them are angry and depressed. The only reason they are staying back is for the money. No other reason. Sometimes some talk about enabling environment and security. No, Nigeria will happen to you. America can also happen to you. Some madman can walk into your hospital and start shooting, killing everybody and kill himself. So insecurity is everywhere. The question is to what is the extent, the level of insecurity. So people leave, granted. I'm not against anybody leaving, you know. But understand my analogy, that before now they came here and forcefully moved us to slave, to farming, plantations, and all those kind of places. Most of the edifices you see abroad was built by using the blood of blacks in form of slave, you know. But today, we are willy-nilly, you know, transporting ourselves. We pay a lot of money to go into slavery. I apologize for using the word slavery in the modern context. But whether you like it or not, as far as I am concerned, you're slaving for your money, you know. But even in Nigeria, some people are also willing to slave locally here. But unemployment is approaching 45%. There is even no work. But abroad, you can even find work and aid and have respect and contribute to the system. But here, 9 out of every 10 university graduates will not find a job in the next 3 or 4 years. It is a given. So I'm not blaming anybody for moving. I'm just trying to contextualize the matter. Before now, they came and forcefully moved us. They killed some of us. But today, we are willingly going to slave, because whether you like it or not, it's slavery. The jobs that the citizens of the UK will not do, we are the ones that go and grab them with both hands. If you go to the United Arab Emirates, work is what Africans come to do. Most of them are not even interested in work. The system is, beneficial to them, welfare and all those kind of things. So these are the issues. I'm not blaming anybody for moving out of the country, if you will. But I can bet you, if you ask your contemporaries abroad, most of them are sad and depressed. They would rather come home. A lot of them will rather come home if the environment is is enabling, if the pay is equivalent, but that is not the case, Any other questions or contributions? Any other? Okay. Okay, so we'll proceed with the course outline. Then we'll call it a day because the system is still trying to take shape. More and more people will get admitted, or those who have already been admitted will start coming to class. Maybe by next week, we'll have a much larger number to run with. And so we will be looking at the concept of development. First, we'll try to look at the concepts of development. The concepts of development. Next, we'll look at the dimensions of development. We'll look at the dimensions of development. Then, if we have the time, we'll look at the key concepts and approaches in development studies. Key concepts and approaches in development studies. Are we together?
We're together, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we are with.
Okay, that's fine. We look at key concepts in development, overview of key concepts and approaches in development studies. Next, we'll look at critical perspectives of development intervention and their impacts. Critical perspectives on development intervention and their impact. Critical perspectives on development interventions and their impact. Then we'll go into the issues of development proper. We'll look at poverty and development, for instance. Poverty and development. What is the correlation between poverty and underdevelopment? Why are we so poor, even while we are so rich? We are so rich as a country, but yet so poor. We'll look at some of these issues. We'll try to understand the persistence of poverty in a resource-rich country like Nigeria. Look at the persistence of poverty in a resource-rich country like Nigeria. We'll also try to analyze the root causes and manifestation of poverty in Nigeria and across the globe. If we have the time, we'll look at the various poverty alleviation programs by successive administrations, and their impact in reducing poverty. Perhaps they have worked, perhaps they have not worked, perhaps, I don't know, we'll find out as we go along. Next, we'll look at inequality and development. Inequality and development. Inequality and development. If we have the time, we'll look at food security and distribution and how it relates to development or underdevelopment. We will also look at democracy, governance, and development. We'll look at democracy, governance, and development. Some have argued that we are underdeveloped because we always have bad leaders. And the question is, where do we get the leaders from? The leaders come from the people. So if the people are bad, leadership will also be bad because the leadership comes from the people. So democracy, governance, and development. Then lastly, we'll look at the theories of development. Theories of development. We'll go into the modernization theory of development, the dependency theory, the human capital theory, sustainable development theory. There's a lot of them. We look at as much, we'll interrogate the many that the little time we have will allow us. Finally, we will review all that we have done and synthesize them. So we do review and synthesis in conclusion of this class. This These things I've just read out might not be mutually exclusive. As we're going along, we can make some, we can add some, we can remove some, you know, as time will permit. So if there are further questions or contributions, this is the time to make them. If they are none, we will call it a day. Thomas, please take, if there's any way you can get me an attendance of the those who have attended this class, write it down and send it to me via maybe WhatsApp. It will be appreciated. So
Okay,
questions based on our brief introduction or conversation so far. Questions? Anyone?
I'm appealing we can have our study material on the platform also so that it can help us read ahead before we meet next time.
It's too early to be asking of course material. I have the course material, that's not a problem. But it's too early to be asking of course material, Madam Edith. Let us, you know, this is not a correspondence program. Can you hear me? If you're doing your masters in the same National Open University, for instance, it is more of a correspondence program. As a matter of fact, nobody comes to teach you. It is based on Prof. Sir. I'm teaching now. I'll give me 1 minute. I'm almost 1 minute. I'm teaching. Prof. Sir. Okay, so if you're doing your masters in National Open University, for instance, it's correspondence learning. So they just push to you course materials and you go and you learn, and then you come and you write the exam. But this is not a correspondence program. You have to learn. You have to attend class. There's room for attendance. We take attendance. I mean, I just told Thomas to take attendance. The danger in releasing course material too early in the day is that some students will just run with it. And I mean, why am I attending class anyway when I already have the course material? That is a very dangerous thing to do. I will give you the course material as you go along. Sometimes I give course materials after every class. So we take a class and I send you the material. We take another class and I send you that particular, the topic we treated that day. That is how it is done. Sometimes if you annoy me, I will wait until the end of the class when I finish teaching and then I send you the course material. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow, and I hope you don't annoy me. So you have to wait a while. Well, I can assure you, rest assured that you will get the course material as you go along. This is day one, right? Mrs. Edith.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We will not annoy you at all.
Okay, I hope not to annoy you too. Any other questions? In the absence of further questions, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.